Hi, Maria here. Welcome to my channel. Today I want to share with you my Freshie collection. So I've got, I don't know, there's a little over 20 fragrances here that kind of fit that refreshing, spa-like, clean, Freshie type category. Now, what shocked me is that I'm not much of a Freshie lover. So straight up Freshies like Dolce & Gabbana's Light Blue Love is Love, I don't really enjoy that. But there are many fragrances that give you that clean, spa-like feel that aren't typical Freshies. So I've got a huge mix for you, something for everyone. I think I've got over 20 fragrances. Not going to go into a whole lot of notes on this one, just going to kind of share the vibe so that you can check them out for yourself. I know that you're going to find something that you'd love in this list. So before we get started, if you haven't subscribed, just go ahead and hit that button. Join the Weird and Wonderful family. It would be amazing to have you part of the community. And without further ado, let's get into this. So today, just because there's so many fragrances to go through, I am going to talk about them quite quickly. Some of them I've talked about in different videos, but I feel like they fit in this category as well. And this first one is one of them, Eau de Soleil Blanc by Tom Ford. This is definitely a fresh fragrance. Now, although this fragrance has kind of that sunscreen vibe, there's a quality in this that smells like it smells like it's got some pine in it or something like that. I know it has petitgrain, there's cardamom in here, there's pepper, so that could be what's giving it that feel. But to me, there's a bit of an evergreen feel just kind of in the background in this one that keeps it feeling fresh. And right on its heels is Chapter 1 by Jennifer Aniston. Again, this one has that beachy vibe. There's something about it that smells fresh and clean. So this is uber affordable and definitely worth taking a look at. Like, seriously, for the price, this is a fantastic fragrance. Like, it's a fantastic fragrance regardless of the price, but being it's like really affordable, it makes it even better. It gives you the same feel as Eau de Soleil Blanc, seriously. One that's rather new to my collection, I got it in the winter time. It's one of the newest releases by UNTAMED Perfumes called Salish Sea. Now, this fragrance definitely has that sea component. It's very clean, it's very fresh feeling, very fresh type fragrance. So I think of being on the beach, kind of up on a rock, and you're smelling kind of the trees and the mist from the misty salt from the sea air, a little bit of the grasses and vegetation around the ocean is kind of what this gives you. I find that this one leans masculine, but when I smell it, I really want to wear it. When I put it on, it doesn't feel like me because it feels a little bit more masculine, and I'm not a huge Freshie fan. There's a depth in this one. There's also a floral component. It's just a really interesting fragrance. It's got some balsam in there. There's black pepper, rosemary, so you definitely get an herbal quality. This fragrance is very relaxing feeling and perfect for summer. This is definitely unisex. To me, it leans masculine or smells really great on a guy. So it's an uber sexy, very smooth, gorgeous fragrance. Honestly, it's so gorgeous. But it doesn't feel like me. So I don't wear it much, but I love it when my husband does, for sure. So you got to give this one a try. Definitely give it a sniff. If you're a Freshie fan, this one is literally phenomenal, and the longevity on it is amazing. Like, you're going to get at least 8 hours of wear out of this thing, so you definitely get a great bang for your buck. The next fragrance I have is also relatively new to my collection, and it is by Michael Malul, and it's called Joie de Vie. Now, first of all, I love this bottle. I think it's so beautiful. This fragrance is definitely one of those cleaner smelling fragrances. To me, the notes don't really fit what I'm smelling. So in the opening, you get lotus, orange, and apple blossom. The heart has violet, magnolia, and jasmine, and the base has musk and woody notes. To me, this smells a lot more citrus than what it's registering in the note breakdown. It feels a little bit citrusy. It feels almost like grapefruit when I first smell it, but it's definitely that citrus, energizing, freshy feel. You definitely get that in this fragrance. This isn't one of my favorites. Again, I'm not a huge fan of Freshies in general. This one I also can't smell it for very long. So on Fragrantica, this gets like rave reviews as being like from moderate to eternal smelling, which is shocking to me because I feel like I put it on and it just disappears. So I need to spend a bit more time with it, but it's definitely, if you're a Freshie fan, for those hot summer days, this is uber refreshing for sure. I have a couple Hermes fragrances. Everything from the JARDIN collection really fits in that fresh, clean category. So I have JARDIN sur Nil. This one comes across a lot more like bergamot, refreshing, kind of mouth watering. I also have JARDIN Méditerranée. This one is gorgeous. Like, I want a full bottle of this one because it's so beautiful. This one feels a little bit more sexy. It's fresh. This one's a little bit more of that citrus fresh. They're both gorgeous. Any of the ones from this collection are just fantastic. They're refreshing and they remind me very much of the AQUA ALLEGORIA line. The AQUA ALLEGORIA line by GUERLAIN, there's so many of them in that collection, and they are all that really fresh, invigorating, refreshing, kind of clean fragrance profile. And there's just major variations. Some have more bergamot, some have coconut, some have, like, there's a whole variety of them. One of my favorite is Mandarin Basilic. Love that one. I believe there's a ginger one as well that I love. Coconut Fizz is nice, but it's not my favorite. Definitely like Mandarin Basilic, and I think there's like a ginger one, as I recall, that I really enjoyed. So those ones for sure, but really you need to sniff the whole entire AQUA ALLEGORIA line if you're a fan of the Freshies, because they're so amazing. Now, another one that's really affordable is a Versace VERSENSE. So this gives me the same sort of vibe as something like Chanel Chanso Fresh, which is an amazing Freshie. So I love Chanel Chanso Fresh, one of my favorites. I don't own it, my sister does. Love that one. It gives me kind of a limey bergamot feel, very green, very relaxing and refreshing. This one has a similar vibe. It's a little bit more powdery, but it still has that kind of limey bergamot combination feel. This one is a little bit more powdery and it's a less long lasting. This you get about 3 hours out of. And that's the thing with Freshies. A lot of times they don't last very long. But as far as just a refreshing, relaxing, kind of clean Freshie, amazing. Now I had to include this one. It's not necessarily fresh. I guess it is kind of. It's TWILLY d'Hermes Eau Ginger. So this one has a beautiful ginger note. It's got lots of florals in, so it borders on not being necessarily a fresh fragrance and more florally, but that ginger is just so invigorating, spa-like, refreshing, that I had to include it because it's a great option. Definitely great in the summer heat. Love it. Another one that's new to my collection is Guess 1981 Indigo. This one is just the perfect kind of crisp, clean fragrance. Oh, it's a crisp, clean fragrance. This one smells clean. This one isn't as fresh in the sense of, you know, some of them, they've got the tart citrus that gives them that fresh feel. This one doesn't feel tart or like citrus, but it smells very clean, sweet, a little bit powdery. It's kind of sexy. It's the girl next door, white t-shirt and jeans, hair's kind of messy, no makeup type fragrance. Easy reach, beautiful, not cloying for the summer, but there's something about it that's just a little bit mysterious and sexy, even though it's clean. This one, I can see guys really enjoying this, especially if they like that clean smell. Some guys just go crazy over clean. If they do, you should buy this because it's like seriously awesome. I love this fragrance. I'm basically motoring through these. I hope that's okay. I've talked about so many of them, so to me it's just a matter of sharing them with you so that you can take a look at them. Yeah, anyway, and moving on, AMETHYST LALIQUE. This one is refreshing, big time. This one, although it says in the note breakdown that there's a ton of berries in it, the berries are not sweet. So it feels like a cold, kind of like you're walking through a damp forest and you come along this big huge berry patch and you're smelling the leaves and the bark and the berries and the moss on the ground, and just that green kind of almost watery, dewy feel that you find in a forest. That's what this gives me. This has been compared to Meliora by Parfums de Marly. There's a similarity, but this is way less sweet to me. And it's not as smooth as Meliora, but it is a very refreshing, relaxing, kind of freshy type fragrance. If you want something that's just kind of spa-like feeling, this one is great. The thing that's wonderful about this one is that it has very, very little sweetness in it. So sometimes sweet gets overpowering in the summer. This one's not going to do that for you. Now, this one, again, new to my collection, is GREASQUE by Soradora. The weird thing about this fragrance is that it smells very fresh and clean in the opening, and then it dries down to a caramel. So you kind of get a mixture of vibes from this one, which is really weird. So it has basil and mint in the opening, which gives it that refreshing feel. And seriously, when you smell it, you smell mint, or like lots of people smell the basil. I smell the mint. So it feels cooling in my nose. It's very, very refreshing because of that mint factor. I just think it's absolutely gorgeous. But then it starts to dry down and you get this delicious caramel coming out. Gorgeous fragrance. The only thing about this one is the longevity is quite poor. So you get like 3 hours, like the first hour, massive projection. From then on, it sits a lot closer to the skin. It still lasts about 4 or 5 hours on the skin, but as far as a major projector, this one definitely doesn't do it. That said, my husband wore it the other day and I basically, like, I wanted to attack him because seriously, it smells so freaking good. And so he put it on, and yeah, for a good hour, hour and a half sitting next to him, I could definitely smell it on him. And I was getting the minty basil vibe. Once that dissipates and you're left with the caramel, it's definitely closer to the skin, but super duper sexy on a guy. I like wearing it because I love the refreshing, cooling aspect of that mint, but I would say it definitely leans masculine. So for me, Toile Imperatrice, it feels like this one's more fresh, fruity, sweet, a little bit aquatic feeling. But it does have that, you know, fresh, clean smell to it somehow. Definitely not a typical freshie. When I think freshie, I oftentimes think citrus. So this one, not quite like, it's not like that. It's definitely more sweet, juicy melon deliciousness. This one's getting harder and harder to find. You can find L'Imperatrice, not the 3, but just L'Imperatrice, which is similar, but it's got more strawberry in it. I haven't tried that one, but I'm tempted to get it as well because I just love this. This one is really hard to come by though at this point. Now this one I consider to be quite fresh and a little bit sharp in the fresh category, but also classy at the same time, and it is Shiseido Zen. A lot of people say this one reminds them of Coco Mademoiselle. In fact, Demi Rawlings said that it smelled like Coco Mademoiselle, and so everybody bought this because she hyped this one up like a few years back. I don't think it smells like Coco Mademoiselle at all. I think there's a pineapple note in here that is quite kind of refreshing, but it's not overly sweet, not overly juicy. What I find is that it feels quite tea-like, spa-like. So the name to me suits it, like the name Zen suits this fragrance. It's a little bit sharp. This isn't one I gravitate towards a lot. Definitely fresh and clean, but also has a slight classy feel to it. So it's kind of an interesting one. This one's pretty affordable too. And everything will be linked down below as always. One of the most spa-like fragrances I have is Elizabeth Arden's White Tea. This one definitely has that cool, kind of spa-like relaxing vibe. Not very long lasting, like 3 hours max, but it's rather affordable. So it's not a bad option, especially if you want to feel that fresh, clean, out of the shower feel. This one's really good. It feels very relaxing. Mainly what you're getting is just white tea, just a hint of a citrusy feel alongside it. So yeah, really quite simple, linear, but very relaxing for the summer for sure. This one I just think is the weirdest fragrance ever, but I am in love with it right now, and it is London Funk by Wilhelm Parfumerie. Now, I definitely think that this one is a challenging fragrance. Like even when I smell it like this, it smells challenging because it smells a little bit sour. So it smells, there's no sweetness in this. It smells sour. It smells like gin and tonic to me. Or gives me that kind of vibe. So this one, it's very, very refreshing. It's really, really great in the heat, but because of that sour note, it's a little bit off-putting. I don't know what it is about this because it's the weirdest fragrance. Like I smell it, it's not my normal scent profile, probably more masculine, but there's a smooth quality to this. It smells to me like a gin and tonic for whatever reason. This, I likely wouldn't wear it on its own, although I have worn it on its own and I didn't mind it. It lasts forever on the skin. It's definitely not feminine leaning. So I would say that this is more masculine, but there's something about it that I really love. And what I love doing with this one is pairing it with something like a mango body butter or something that's a little bit sweeter, and then pairing this on top. It just feels so refreshing and relaxing to me. This is a fragrance that if I'm feeling stressed out, honestly, I'll come over and sniff it. Yeah, I don't know what it is about it. There's a mouth-watering quality to this. It's not tart, it's sour. So there's a sour feel in this, along with kind of some junipers. It's just really interesting, but this is a neat fragrance, especially to layer with bright tropicals like a pineapple or a mango, or even putting a body spray with this one. So you get a bit of sweetness with it, but still that refreshing cooling factor. Very interesting fragrance. Nobody talks about this, probably because it's the weirdest thing a person could potentially smell. But I just kind of love it, and it smells great on guys as well. So yeah, it's not mass appealing, but it's so intriguing, and it definitely gives me that relaxing, somehow spa or refreshing vibe to it. Yeah, don't quite get it, but really, really am enjoying it. Like, it's really a weird fragrance. Like, I'm telling you, it's weird. You got to smell it, and then you'll understand what I mean. And at first, I'm like, oh, this is a big fat no. But the more I smell it, the more I can't stop sniffing it. So I don't get you. I don't get you, London Funk, but I definitely enjoy you. Two more I'll quickly mention. The first is Dolce & Gabbana's Love is Love. Any of the light blue flankers are always fresh and clean and feel invigorating and energizing. Perfect little freshies. My favorite is this Love is Love because it's got raspberry and sorbet, raspberry kind of sorbet type things in here. I think there's whipped cream in here too. It still comes across very refreshing, but it's got the sweetness that I really like, so love this one. Another freshie for non-freshie lovers is Trussardi Donna. It's got the florals in it, but that lemons yuzu combination feels somehow cooling. It feels refreshing and clean feeling, sweet, delicious. Love, love, love this fragrance. So that was a huge list of fragrances. They're fresh or refreshing or spa-like, clean. It's kind of a huge mosh of fragrances, but you know those fragrances where you want to just smell clean, you want to smell put together, you want to smell refreshing, but you don't want to really smell out there. These are all kind of in that category, except for, of course, London Funk, which is one of the weirder fragrances I've ever smelled, but I love it. Most of these are major easy reaches. I would say the two easiest reaches would be Light Blue Love is Love and Guess 1981 Indigo. They're like kind of more authentic, fresh, clean fragrances, but they both have kind of a sexy, juicy je ne sais quoi. Really, really enjoy both of those for the hot, hot weather. But you can never go wrong with these En Jardin fragrances by Hermes or the AQUA Allegoria fragrances from GUERLAIN. Please go check those out. There's such a huge variety that none of these are very long lasting. But as far as that refreshing, freshy feel, these are amazing, honestly. What are your favorite refreshing, freshy type fragrances? They could be spa-like, they could be energizing, they could be refreshing, relaxing. Leave them down in the comments below. And other than that, I hope you have an amazing week and we'll talk to you soon.